My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast. And, well, I don't even care about what the hell happened tonight. Hoda's here!
Woo!
Woo! How are we going, Hoda?
I'm here. How are you guys?
Good. We're not as echoey as we were last time we spoke to you.
No, but, we don't have an amazing spread either.
We also don't have an amazing spread.
Yes, because that was...
Oh, damn. I was trying... I've managed to convert you to domes and schmear. What next?
Don't. Just okay.
A nice soil.
Panna Cotta.
So, no, don't mention the word Panna Cotta. Last night we were told there was a Pannacottaoff, so I don't need... Pannacottaoff sounds like a Russian author. What's his name? It's Pannacottaoff.
But today we'll be studying the works of Pannacottaoff. He was a prominent Russian author during the 1830s until the untimely demise at the age of 32.
Lactose intolerant.
I was just about to say cause of death.
Lactose. So just for people who aren't aware what the hell we're going on about, because we're about a minute in and we're already in joking. If you check out at Washing Up Pod, there's a lovely photo of this amazing dessert of a dome and a schmear. Hoda created this masterpiece. I believe one to be delicious and two to troll the hell out of me, and it was correct on both counts.
Hey, I told you that was like the dome situation and the schmears are all new to me. So while it's been overdone,
like, who can I try these out on? I know. Hey, Chris, want to come over?
Hey, Chris, do you want to come over and have a dome?
Have a schmear. Having
said that, it was bloody delicious.
And then what I liked is you also trolled Jo without her knowing with a tweel.
Hey, Jo. All right, so as you can sort of pick from the general gist of this conversation, we are going to talk about what happened in the last 3 nights, but we're just going to talk. Because, we've got Hoda, and, we just like talking shit with Hoda.
Because... Yeah, and, I enjoy talking shit too. So, beautiful. I mean, why not?
So how you been? I mean...
How's the shit?
Busy. Well, she does have a still fairly newborn, so...
Yes. Fairly newborn. She's 4 months old now.
It still counts.
Running around like mad, like a headless chook. Reminiscing. The latest gig that I did was that big charity dinner for 1,000 people.
Oh, is that all? Oh, yeah. It's just 1,000.
Yeah, that was
1,000.
That was quite interesting.
It's a good thing she's led team challenges before.
How'd that go down?
And it was, I think there was at one point a camera in there filming me while I was barking orders, and I actually felt like it was my team challenge all over again.
Did you yell? I have to ask on behalf of, friend of the show, Brandon Black. Did you yell out, "I'm looking for perfection"?
I couldn't yell that to the volunteers because I think they would have perfectly kicked my ass.
I thought you were about to say, I couldn't yell that out because it's trademarked. George owns it.
But I was yelling at them, saying, setting up a production line, keeping them on task, getting them to do, first 1 liter of soup. Oh no, empty all the 250 jugs. We need 750 mils. Oh no, now we need 500 mils. So I think they were already going to kill me.
Was somebody standing behind you with like a music player playing the Masterchef music over the back? Dun, 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 dun.
I actually needed that in the kitchen that day. But it was,
Did you get some random guy to run through going, boom, boom, shake the room? Another run.
Now, you know that I've taken that little trademark off George. And I used to actually yell that out. Boom, boom, but say it properly.
Yeah, you rhyme. That's the problem.
Boom, boom, shake the room.
No, it's bomb, bomb, shake the room. Or boom, boom, shake the rom. You've got to can't have it rhyme, Hoda. That's not the point of this whole thing. The other thing is,
I take it and make it better.
seconds.
Oh no, I was yelling out. It's 5:10.
Has anybody noticed, by the way, Poe, when she calls out 30 seconds, doesn't do George's 30 seconds left. She's like, you've got 30 seconds. So
It's so refreshing.
I wonder if he's trademarked it.
Yeah.
Like, he's trademarked 30 seconds. And Poe's come in the first time and gone, 30 seconds. And they're going, stop, retake that one. Can't say that, Poe.
His lawyers step out.
Look, I think he may have, because he does it every single time. So
it's very trademarked now. So the last
cease and desist order.
So the last few nights. So we'll start talking about the show, and if we end up on the show, who cares? So we'll start talking about the fact that we have given out an immunity pin.
Yeah.
So Sandeep won the immunity pin the other night.
Tens across the board.
Now,
just throwing some RuPaul in.
It was. I mean, that would have been more accurate. It was an interesting challenge. First of all, it was about the sauce, but it was what made it weird for me. There were many things, but there were many things that made it really unusual for me. But the idea of the hero is a sauce made by a judge. So it wasn't even like something that they made. They made something else and then had to hero the judge's work. So even if the dish was amazing,
it came down to the judges.
It came down to the judges, and nobody picked George's taramasalata.
You got any ideas what you could use taramasalata for, Hoda? Because all I was thinking is like some lead bread, just dip it in, like just
lead bread. Now you'd be insulting.
No, it's a fusion of cultures.
Yeah, that is true.
It's a controversial snack.
I can think, maybe they could have turned it into an ice cream or a sorbet.
Why not?
Or one better, a panna cotta.
Don't. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the washing up for this week. I'm still going
to... I'd like to thank Hoda for coming on for her first and last time, or second and only last time.
I'd just like to thank Hoda for coming on and mentioning Panna Cotta every 2.5 fucking seconds.
They make it that often.
I didn't realise we had Abby on. So, this was the one time we did do Panna Cotta, thankfully. I did find it interesting, though, that they all ignored George's taramasalata.
I was like, I got nothing.
I thought that was fascinating. I thought the other interesting part was, of the three of them, in terms of the three judges, the majority of them went for Matt's.
Yeah.
And ignored Gary.
So Gary had the sriracha.
Yep.
The taramasalata. And what was Matt's?
Chipotle.
It's like
it was a barbecue chipotle.
Sweet.
Like a smoky.
Yeah, smoky barbecue chipotle thing.
Yeah.
So that was,
I probably would have gone for his as well. Because that seems, then sriracha. Oh.
Sriracha.
What if you could you have combined sauces? Like, did you have to stick with just one sauce?
They didn't say.
I don't know. But I would have went sriracha, and I would have probably made, one of those banh mi's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you would have won. Can I just point out, they're doing the ads at the moment for Channel 10 for the living room.
For Miguel.
And they're talking about Miguel's Asian-inspired steak sanger, or as everybody else in the world calls it, a banh mi.
Yes, I know. I actually thought the same when I saw that commercial. And
that's exactly what he's made. It's not a steak sanger. It's a banh mi. Now, speaking of steak, however...
Yeah.
We need to mention Zoolander.
Oh, Derek.
So Derek Zoolander.
He needs some steak.
So
just went out and get the biggest steak you could find, just big beef.
Now I'm going to suggest
big ribeye.
I'm going to suggest that Derek.
Ooh, look at my ribeye.
Derek couldn't find ribs.
So big.
Like he couldn't find ribs to put into the slow cooker.
My ribeye is so big I couldn't fit it in the slow cooker.
Now I'm just trucking on here. Now, Derek...
No, you keep going.
Derek,
just keep talking about my ribeye.
Derek couldn't find ribs to go into the slow cooker, and my argument about that was maybe they didn't put the ribs there, Derek, because you can't cook them properly in that period of time.
Oh, no, I just know how to handle a ribeye, see? Watch me handle my
he
ribeye.
Didn't know how to handle a ribeye.
That was the whole point. It's just me handling a ribeye.
He hacked a very expensive piece of meat to pieces.
That was so bad.
And then didn't use it because it didn't cook. and so wasted a whole ribeye. Wasted. Like, discarded it.
How devastated do you think Tim Tallum is at the moment?
I bet he's saying all the best. That was his
Poor Tim.
trademark line. Going all the best.
All the best.
All the best, Tim.
All the best.
All the best, Derek. All the best. It was horrific to watch him. Like, and they're all. We've never seen a saw before in the Masterchef kitchen. I'm
and you never will again.
There's a reason for that, because you give them the right cuts of meat, not hacking apart a ribeye with a saw.
See, ribeye is not one cut I've seen at Coles though. Like, I've gone to Coles.
Oh no, they've got them. I've seen them.
Do they?
I've seen them.
They're
just really expensive and they're pressure packed.
Oh, that's why I haven't noticed them. I just go for the cheapies. Like, what's on special today, kiddies? All right, we're having.
It's the cheap cuts that cook very well for long periods of time. So
yeah, that's what you're doing. Yeah. I just thought that whole thing was weird. Like, again, if you can't find ribs, the chances are they didn't give you ribs because they're not going to cook in time. Because he had to. The problem was he had to get the pressure cooker up to pressure.
Yeah.
So that's time.
How far do you think he would have gone for ribs? Like, if there was no ribs and there wasn't a ribeye in there,
where's he going?
Do you think he's just running out to the garden trying to catch a feral fox or something, or a feral rabbit, just to serve some kind of rib? It's a pigeon.
He could have got a pigeon.
I was about to say, pigeon's kind of the only wildlife in the garden, isn't it? Huh?
Yes, I think so.
No, he jumps on the Vespa and goes for a ride to Coles.
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, and there is a Coles around the corner. So
I want ribs.
Hilarious.
Oh, that's handy then. So he could have just gone, look, guys, I'll be back.
Send the camera. Send the camera. I'm going to the sponsor.
Next time they go, okay, the garden's in play and so is the whole of the Coles around the corner.
The next 4 streets are in play.
Yeah. She goes over there and starts doing her groceries. So I just had a panic attack and just went into grocery shopping. I couldn't remember we needed more alfoil. This is probably the 60th box of alfoil we got at home.
And then they come back without the meat, everything.
Any of the ingredients they needed, they come back with everything else instead.
Could be worse. They could have wandered into Aldi, went in with some meat, come out with a bandsaw.
So Larissa also had problems.
Yeah,
couldn't get her dough to rise. But I liked. Look, I didn't really like Derek's improvisation. I'll be honest with you. I did like Larissa's improvisation.
Yeah, she thought on her feet. And the thing is, she didn't have any judges there coaching her, whereas Derek's there.
They're standing over him.
And I'm sure what they didn't show was like Matt and Gary doing like a interpretive dance in the background, trying to like coach him along.
I would like the idea of this. I'd like the idea, I don't know about you, heard a bit like wheeling out a chalkboard and like with a picture of a cow and like drawing the cuts of meat on the cow.
I think at that point, like in the competition, it is all about thinking on your feet. If something stuffs up, you're like, what can I do about it? Or if there's something that you thought was going to be in the pantry, you're like, oh, what can I use instead? It's all about that. And these sorts of challenges do show who sort of can deal with that pressure of thinking on their feet better than others. And some people just cave. Some people do go blank, and think, I know a million recipes, but nothing's coming to mind, or I can't pinpoint one. So, I do feel I do have some empathy.
I thought Larissa's work with the flatbread was really good.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And she got a cheer from the gantry.
Yeah, she did. And Poe said, I actually think that the flatbread almost goes better than what you had planned originally. So that was good. Tati made her panko crumb.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw the look on your face.
Spring rolls. Like, that was just... That woman can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. Just
so far she's been, pretty awesome, pretty strong.
Now...
And she's got quite a wide range. Like, she's She knows Thai flavors and Malaysian flavors, and like she just knows how to mix and.
Yeah, she's moving around a bit with her flavors, which is really cool.
She's taking me on a Southeast Asian journey, and I'm there for it.
Yeah, you are there for it. But
I
have to admit that Sandeep's lobster looked amazing.
Oh my God.
That did look delicious.
The masala lobster looked incredible. And yeah, look, it was a thoroughly deserved winner.
Absolutely.
It was something that was I don't know if I'm here for the serving it back in the shell the way he did. Now
I'm okay with that. What I thought was hilarious, so he goes, "You can't waste any of the animal," and just throws out the head.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on. Where's the head?
Make a bisque. Make a bisque.
Just make a bisque while you're there.
Well, the head would have been discarded ages ago because it was lobster tails, right?
Yeah.
No. Everybody's like, well, you can't waste anything. Throw that out. I don't know, because like I've seen a lot of divided opinion on the idea of the lobster in terms of serving it in the shell or not serving it in the shell. Again, I didn't have a massive problem with it, but I probably wouldn't have served it in the shell.
But if you put lobster up without like the shell, what does it look like? It just looks like white fleshy stuff.
Yeah, well, to be fair, his other solution for that
could have been porridge then, for all you know.
Well, not with the bed of salt that he put down. Why so much salt?
Why not?
It's made like the rock salt. Like
because they always talk about seasoning, so he probably thought, I lay it there.
That's what he sees in the shell.
What you didn't see is because it was black and the peppercorns underneath.
Well, if they needed more, they could have just taken a pinch from the bottom.
They started from the bottom, now they're here.
Look, sorry, Hoda, you'll never know this, but when you get oysters Kilpatrick and the little bits of bacon fall off into the salt that it's served on, and it's just like super salty. It's just deliciousness, but wrong, because you're just eating a big granule of salt stuck to a bit of bacon that's full of salt bed. It's like,
logically that makes sense. So then we had the challenge. Now, I've never been so disappointed with what was actually a really good option. Because they're doing this Secrets Week. Now, we didn't even mention Secrets Week the first part of the challenge, because I don't even know what the secret was supposed to be. Now,
it was in the sauce.
It was the secret sauce. That's right. Well done.
Secret is in the sauce.
It was as much of a secret sauce as you can possibly have when the judges say, "Here's my sauce."
I'm so glad it was one they cooked and not me.
Let's move on. I knew you were going there. Let's move. So, moving target. This secret was the judges weren't even going to know. And this was something we said last week. Why don't they do this challenge where they don't even know who the chef is?
Yeah.
So that it's completely neutral and they don't know. Now,
and I'm so glad they acted on our feedback. Thank you very much, Masterchef.
They're listening every week. It's great. What I would like to say, though, is that theory is amazing.
Yeah.
When you have Sandeep in the challenge, not so much. Because
I have to agree.
You could tell, and look, we said the same. It's been the same in a couple of seasons. It's not just with Indian cuisine. Before people go, oh, you're just picking on the idea of him making Indian all the time. Whenever you've got someone who makes the same sort of thing over and over and over again, and the judges know it, they can pick the dish a mile away. Like, there is no way that they knew that Sandeep was in the challenge. There is no way they saw a curry presented the way that he's presented a curry 3 or 4 times now and went, oh, I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
They knew that was Sandeep's. Now, it doesn't mean that it wasn't absolutely brilliant. And don't mistake it for, like, me saying, oh, it wasn't worthy of winning. Clearly, it looked like it was. But the problem is that... exactly. The problem was, though, that it was very apparent. And like the way they did the judging was weird, was when they just announced 10, 10, 10 and then went, who was that? And then we're not even going to show you Andy's scores.
Why embarrass the poor?
Well, they did eventually. Winner. If you went online, they showed you that he got 8s.
Yeah.
But you had to go online to find that.
Wasn't a lot of 6s?
It was all 8s.
Oh, all 8s. There we go.
It was 8s across the board. And look, Andy Allen is a really good choice.
And I have to say that I've eaten at the 3 Blue Ducks and his food is absolutely delicious.
My problem.
Ooh, when did you eat there?
A little while ago with Ben Borscht. We went and had lunch there.
Look at you.
La-di-da.
Dining with runners up and everything.
We had to. Yes, we had to.
You had to force yourself. But the thing for me with Andy was, unfortunately for poor Andy, they're like secrets. And they showed this judge walking around in like track shoes, this cook chef running going out of track shoes, and we were like, it's David Chang.
No, it was great that it was Andy, but it still wasn't David Chang.
But the problem was they left it so open, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, that looks like David Chang." They got David Chang. It's a hatted restaurant. Momofuku is a hatted restaurant. Oh my god, they've got David Chang back. This is amazing. This is incredible. Oh, it's Andy. Hey, Andy. Yeah, you're great too.
I wasn't let down though. I was happy.
Like, I was let down because I built myself up.
And he's really lovely.
That was me.
It was a sidestep, and it's you, yeah.
Like for me,
you know what I think they should have done that challenge in particular. If it's all secretive and everything, the winner of the first round, the judges shouldn't have known who the winner was. They should have just judged the dish and given it to, was it Poe who was leading the thing, and then said this dish has won, and then let the second round begin. Against the chef, and then that way, even if he cooked his like the curry or anything, they wouldn't know who it is. So
that's look. We've talked about a couple of ways they can do it, and they've gotten better this year. Still not perfect, but they have gotten a bit better this year. We're happy with that. They've made some changes. Like there's a bit more blind judging going on, which I'm liking.
Yes,
it was. Look, the challenge was interesting. It was really interesting because you needed to do, it was Lennon's, and Sandeep was sure that he'd fucked everything up, and then managed to completely counterbalance everything at the end.
But I enjoyed watching him cook because he was tasting all the time, and like he can cook right. That to me is wizard.
That actually reminded me of last year, wasn't it? Loki's challenge against the chef for his
when he won the pin.
Wasn't it?
Sorry to mention that, Loki. We know. We know.
What was it like watching that happen with Loki?
Gut wrenching.
Oh, I can
only
imagine.
It was. I really felt sorry for you. Like, you know what? He was, from his mathematical perspective in terms of stats, I think he made like a good decision for himself. But like there's always that niggling feeling that you're like, but what if? And
well, we've seen it this year. And it's become what we're referring to now as the Loki rule. So I'll be interested to see what happens with Sandeep now, because the last two people that have won a pin have given it up within the week.
Like Tim got it and was like, boom.
Handed it straight back and went, here, you have this. I don't want it.
That's right.
Like they just kept on, they threw it back at them as fast as they could. They're like, no, I'm not even risking it here.
Well, Tim did make reference to Loki.
They all know.
So, yeah.
Like it's changed, I think, the way people use the pin because you don't want to be the person that goes home with it.
The issue was that the season before ours, Sarah, she inspired people then to keep the pin and just play. She was the first one, I believe. Wasn't she?
Yeah, it was just hang on to it.
To hang on to it and then to actually win it. And the thing is, I think that was the inspiration as well behind like even Loki and that, you know, to all right, maybe I've got good odds, like there's more people in this elimination challenge.
And mathematically he's right.
Yeah, that which is true. I agree. That's what I'm saying. But you know, there's always that, even if it's a 1%, there's that 1% that that could happen. And unfortunately for him, that happened. And it was sad to watch, you know.
There's that 1% chance, but that 1% chance is now turned into everyone else lobbing that. No, you have it. We don't. You keep it, George. You keep it.
Well, he quickly turned that theory around. So Sarah came in, turns it around, gone, yep, you can hold on to that pin and play it. And then poor Loki came in and now, you know, diverted everyone back to no, just
now nobody wants the pin anymore.
I wonder how long it's going to take for that kind of for someone to get
Ride
the
it all
courage
the way.
up and just go, you know what, I'm just gonna have a go at this.
I'm going to hang on to this pin as long as humanly possible.
I mean, probably another 8 years.
Yeah, probably. It's probably going to be that long. So Loki wins the pin. We're not talking a lot about the
Sandeep wins the pin.
Sandeep won the pin. Yes, well, Loki did win the pin. Loki is undefeated with the pin.
Poor Loki.
I wonder
If
if
he's listening, I love
Loki-
you, Loki.
Got to take it home with
Now,
you.
here's a question for you. Just humour me on this. So, a couple of years' time, because I've got to sit it out for a couple of years, I believe.
Yeah.
A couple of years' time, Loki comes back to audition. Can he use the pin in his audition? Like he auditions, they go, "I'm sorry, Loki, but no. Have a pin.
I mean,
I believe I'm one of the 24." I would do that.
like Miss
I
Becky.
would too. If I made it back to judges' auditions
Yes.
and they didn't like my dish,
Like he
I'd pull
walks
the
in
pin
with
on them.
Like he walks in with the pin and just hands it to them and goes, "Top 24, see you there, guys." Walks out again.
Boys.
Pass me, I'll swap you for an apron.
They go to announce the winner of this year's Masterchef, and Loki just appears in the corner and goes, "Aha! I don't believe you defeated everyone. A new challenger has emerged." So
Well,
yes.
see, if I was Loki, just for shits and giggles, I would have actually brought the pin back to the top 12. The cooking, when they do the comeback cooking.
Yes.
I would have used it then.
What's up, bitches? I'm back.
By
that
the
would
way,
have
don't
actually
even
been
bother
the
with this.
perfect moment.
Don't even bother with a comeback cook.
Yeah,
Here's the pin. Thank you.
I've just saved you all a day.
I would have said, "Stop! Aren't you forgetting something?"
Before we all go through the effort of filming an episode,
Yeah.
let me just point out, I've still got this bad boy. I'm playing it this time. So Sandeep wins the pin, and again, cooked a really good dish. We then move on to last night. Now, last night is I've referred to last night as Masterchef. The machine has become sentient. It's very self-aware of everything this year. They've been making references to all sorts of things. They tried to kill white chocolate velouté by everybody mentioning the damn thing.
Yep.
They did a whole episode where all the judges did was mention it. So they're really showing everyone, oh, we know. So what did they do? Nonnas. Fucking nonnas as far as the eye can see. Or only two of them. But
it felt like more because Joe wouldn't shut up about his girlfriend's Nonna.
Okay. Has anybody become more Italian more rapidly than Joe, who doesn't have a Nonna? He's borrowed one from his girlfriend.
That kid, when you went to school, right, and you're in about year 8 or year 9, and that kid comes back from his overseas trip to, like, I don't know, France, and then suddenly they're like so French, they're wearing the stripy shirt and the beret and just only eating cheese.
I'm not having a sandwich. I've got a baguette. When I was in France.
Yeah. We. No, I don't need the toilet. I'm saying yes.
Yeah, every time they answer their name on the roll. We. And then when someone else is away, no.
Oh God!
But no one has become more Italian more rapidly than Joe, who went from good old Aussie bloke, bit of a nerd, but an Aussie bloke, to
the closest thing to Italy you'll ever come across.
My girlfriend's Nonna is Italian, but that was what he did. He didn't even say my girlfriend is Italian or her family is Italian. Just the
Nonna. Her grandmother is Italian.
Yeah,
just the Nonna. Nobody else in the family.
Do you think it's a fairly new relationship? And as soon as he knew he was going on MasterChef, he's like, I need a Nonna. And so he went on Tinder looking for a girl that has a Nonna.
Went on Grey Power.
He went on Tinder.
Well, that's where locals meet. So Tinder is where the locals meet. So
I'm not commenting on that.
Don't. So I just thought it was really bizarre. Again, he didn't clarify the rest of the family was Italian, just the Nonna. He talked about he spent a lot of time with her learning how to cook pasta, at which point they miraculously had this cutaway of him cooking with the Nonna.
It did look like the Nonna and her granddaughter were having a nice little afternoon together, and he's just bursts through
With a camera crew.
Ding
dong!
Oh!
Now, I haven't seen much of his backstory, but
That was it.
have they shown his family or
No,
is that...
no. That's the first time.
No, we've
the
seen
first
him
time.
sitting at a desk studying.
Yeah, but we didn't see anyone else.
No, we didn't.
We saw him at a desk studying. Then the next time we saw him, it wasn't even with his family. It was with his girlfriend's Nonna.
Oh, what if he's more like a Grimes character, from The Simpsons?
But so, where does the inspiration, and this is the thing, okay, that's great that you've got an Nonna to come and help you, but that would have been recent. So where did your inspiration or love for food come from? That's what I'd like to know.
He just talks to random Nonnas online. He approaches old women in the street. He works at the local community centre 3 days a week, just helping them out.
He hashtags everything with NILTCW, which is Nonna I'd like to cook with.
You know what? The effort of that joke was worth it.
Hashtag DTC. Down to cook.
Oh my God.
As we just recover,
spiraling out of control.
No, it's perfectly in control.
We're on track at the moment.
By our standards.
Are we?
By our standards, ploughing on ahead.
I haven't even mentioned the F word.
So we've talked about this idea of the Nonnas and the power of the Nonnas and
the power of
Nonna. Now the interesting part about the Nonna thing is it doesn't work as well when it's a yaya or when it's a gran or it doesn't work with any other
or a teta.
No, it doesn't.
What is it in Arabic?
So there's two. There's either some people say teta,
yep.
Some people say sitto.
Oh, sitto.
But more importantly for the judges on Masterchef, it's not Nonna.
Yeah.
But we saw that. Remember at the start of this year when they were talking about there was I'm a Nonna and then there was an I'm a Nonna. And then there was the woman who was I'm a yaya. And yeah, she didn't get through.
Yeah, the yaya was a no-no.
The yaya was a no-no.
Didn't have the same ring, didn't roll off the tongue like the Nonna.
No, didn't run off the tongue like the word Nonna. But the one thing we have seen a lot of this week because we've had Nonnas in is that all the Nonnas, and I think we can say this quite openly, every Nonna has a great pasta recipe. And I think we've seen this quite clearly, example this week within the kitchen.
Do they call it a pasta-off?
No, they don't. We're all trying to lead me to the point. I'm going to get to Pannacottaoff.
I'm waiting very patiently.
I know you are. It became, look, not to be that person, but it became very clear very early on that it was going to be a very heavy Abby night. And then they made a captain. And then she decided that she needed to narrate everything.
After shutting down the Nonna.
After yelling at a Nonna, she shut down the Nonna's idea when the Nonna went, we'll do a porchetta. And she goes, no, we'll do beef cheeks. And she goes, we don't really do beef cheeks. And she goes, I'm doing beef cheeks. Fine. And by the way, I've heard of Rosa's Kitchen. Even I, miscellaneous city dweller, have heard of Rosa's Kitchen. Mm-hmm. That's not something that is not known of. And Olympia on the other side, who unfortunately for her had resting Nonna face. And looks like she's had a few people killed in her time. And I don't say this out of anything other than absolute love, because by the time she was finished last night, I think she had every right to have hits put on people.
Yes.
I can't even talk.
You don't need to.
No comment from me. I'm too busy laughing.
You don't need to. Who's got this? So
she's as she's walking out the kitchen, she's just making a few phone calls. Hey, Luigi, get Nino onto this.
Yo, they fucked up the Panna Cotta. Yeah. Fucking pan. Can you believe it? It's fucking milk. Like it's milk and gelatin. I mean, seriously, they fucking screwed that up. Yeah, no.
See, my version of panna cotta, which Aldo always laughs at me for, because I call it my fake panna cotta, is always set with corn flour. It's a point of difference.
So that reminds me, at the end of this episode, we have to go back to a challenge earlier this week and ask you about that. So
all right, yeah.
We have to ask you about the cornflakes thing. We'll come back to that. So we've had all of the mentions of the Nonna, and there were so many mentions of Joe's rented Nonna.
And then instead of saying like yes chef, they're like yes Nonna.
It was really weird. It was a weird challenge too, because we had an unusual array of leadership styles.
Yeah.
On one side,
yeah,
the leadership style from Abby was let everyone else do it and talk to the camera a lot and yell at the Nonna. Christina,
but she had a very clear vision, Chris.
She was drawing that vision at the pass. The other side, Christina, started really well. She seemed to be having all these great ideas. She put everyone in the right places. It looked good.
Listen to the Nonna
when it's calling for you. The problem was that Christina then didn't do anything. And so the first dish goes out and she didn't bother to look at it.
It did look like multiple shades of beige.
Oh, so
yeah.
Calamari that went out with, we're going with an emulsification.
And let's just call that an emulsified mayo.
Puddle.
But you could hear it in the communication. Christina said to Steph, we're looking for a basil mayonnaise. And Steph said back to her, a basil oil. And Christina's going, yes, a basil mayonnaise. And it's like,
there's a word.
That was the part that I was confused at.
Yeah. And
that
so when,
and
when it was Olympia on their side.
Yes.
Yeah. When she's come over to check out what Steph's doing, and she's chucked it, she's like, oh, that's very green, and stuck her finger in. She's like, only tasting the oil. Is this a mayonnaise? You see Steph goes, oh, mayonnaise. All right.
So that's what we were doing.
Yes, okay, I'll use this as my oil.
Yes, we'll use it as an oil. And then they served it, and Christina looks at it and goes, doesn't look like what I thought it looked like. Well, why didn't you look at it earlier?
Well, so I thought she was going to make then a mayo.
No.
And then drizzle that as the oil.
Because
and then
that would have been
just
delicious.
cut to the scene where she's pouring green
sludge. Basically, it was sludge.
It was like an episode of you can't do that on television.
Yes, with the slime.
With the slime.
And look, I don't think we should let the undercooked calamari off the hook here.
No.
I mean, you could have, because it could have swum back.
But Gordon Ramsay was ready to walk in.
We needed Gordon in the kitchen.
It was it made me look tanned.
Look, Gary's word was apt, insipid. It did look insipid.
Yeah, I don't like it when I agree with that, but I really agreed with him.
Yeah. And you know what I would have done with that, what they call that green mayo?
Yeah.
Just call it a sauce.
Yeah.
Look,
you know, if they called it a sauce, it would have
win.
changed everything.
Yep, because they're no longer looking for the other.
Yeah.
So, right. All right, it was at this point of the episode that Abby announced that she looked over at the other team and she saw their dessert too. And at this point, Abby realised they were having a Pannacottaoff.
Yeah, so I thought she was going to suggest changing it.
Well, that would have made sense, Hoda.
It would have, especially if they focused on her saying, I looked over to the other team and saw they were doing panna cotta. I'm waiting for it to go, so I decided to change our dessert.
No, she's like, but we decided to plough on ahead. You know what? Stay the course, guys.
Do you think Pannacottaoff's greatest work, though, was War and Wibble or Madame Bovinary.
Oh, get it, bovine gelatin.
Well done.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Although-
Here all night.
Although I doubt it was bovine. I believe it was porchetta.
So look, there's so many Italian desserts.
Yep.
Panna Cotta, look, it's the most stereotypical MasterChef one they could have found.
Yeah, and they had a bit of time to actually get through and do this.
Make a fucking tiramisu, somebody.
So I was waiting. Now this is where I have to speak up because, you know, I call a spade a spade.
Yep.
I'm very nice to people, but I call a spade a spade. So why do we default straight to a panna cotta? This is for every dessert in the competition, but then we hear it's Italian cuisine that you're serving up 4 dishes. One has to be dessert. What are we going to make? I know, perfect dessert. We're going to make a panna cotta. What? Like, there are so many. There's tiramisu, there's biscotti, there's affogato, there's so many things you could play with. But
limoncello, or there's like the could do something to play with, like, you know, the dessert drinks that they serve, like the kind of herbal digestive drinks. I bloody love those things.
But I think you're forgetting that
play on that
has wobble. And that wobble, what will Gary and George and Matt do?
Yeah, but it's been done so many times.
Yeah, but Matt Preston loves wobbling a plate.
That is true.
You can't wobble a plate with a tiramisu on it. It doesn't wobble.
And that's the point of people don't do many more jellies. Like, there's no, like, crazy ass motherfucking, you know, centerpiece jellies served on MasterChef. Like, I'm not talking about just like your aeroplane. I'm
jelly swans.
Yeah, I'm talking about the big ones that you'd serve at a banquet that have got like the heads of your enemies stuffed in the middle. Like, whatever they do to celebrate medieval style.
Stapler. You know, important things.
Well, they should have just layered that panna cotta then. You know, layer of jelly, layer of panna cotta.
That was like, I don't know if I like the idea that somebody can say of a dessert, I've got so much gelatin in there it will set a house. I don't know if
was it a house or was it a pool?
It was a house. That was Anushka.
The comment was that it would set a pool.
Oh, that'd be fun though. Imagine like doing jelly in a pool.
Oh God!
See, we're redoing our pool, so we could, as a one last hurrah, just throw a heap of jelly in.
Just can you?
How many packets of airplane do you reckon that's going to take?
Wait, and then you have to photograph yourself jumping in.
What flavour should we go for?
No.
Port wine?
Look, all we need to do is you can order
lime.
You can order the jelly like you ordered the soil for work. And we'll get more than enough to fill the pool. That's...
Well, that would make sense because usually they always go with like, you know, a creamy element and then a chocolate soil.
Oh no. So the crux of this whole thing for me was Christina's lack of understanding of what was going on her team. When she turned around to try to bolster her team, went, guys, every plate of food we've sent out today looks amazing. And I've yelled at the TV, did you see the calamari? Did you look at it?
They just edited it and cut out the point where she said, except that fucking calamari.
That was a disgrace. You know who you are.
I mean, kudos to Abby. She did make her, like, all of her team's plates look pretty bloody
They looked
phenomenal.
good. And look, it was clearly the...
And they had scampi. Like, I was like, oh,
yeah,
you were
scampi,
sold. I'm down.
You were sold on scampi. I mean, you love...
Yeah.
You're a band of scampi.
I must say, their dishes looked absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
But one of the questions that was raised in my head when I was watching that, and I was like saying, when Abby said, I've got the plating in my head, I decided to stand at the pass. And I'm like, so, but what would have happened if there was a disaster or if you needed extra help, but only you know how to plate it? You know, you need to sort of translate that plating or your vision to other people so that you can, you know, push out plates, get things going.
Because, like, you're absolutely right. What if she happened to have had to run in the pantry last minute and grabbed a bottle of Cobram?
Yeah, if she had to grab a bottle of Cobram.
We're going back.
Like, what happens? That's a dangerous thing. It can happen to anyone. Like,
yeah, it is true.
we've seen it, and you know,
Hashtag victims of Cobram.
R.I.P. Brandon. I mean, we know you're alive, but
Yeah.
still.
Oh, we've had Joe's run down. Did you get down to Cobram too? What did you think?
Yeah, about Cobram.
Yeah, like down to the estate and stuff. Did you have fun?
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, I've called myself the self-appointed advocate.
Self-appointed advocate. Well done.
I do like their oils, and I won't advertise anything that I don't like, to be honest. So, you know, and they're very amazing bunch of people, very generous, and you know, I think they're like, I honestly think that translates into their product, into their oils. So there you go, a little bit of advertising there for you.
There's a bit of a
self-appointed advocate.
So,
and how did they control Aldo on the day?
Yeah. What techniques? Because we've talked a lot about this, and hey, Aldo, we've talked a lot about this, but we're going to, when we get Aldo on the podcast, it's an in-person podcast because, as you well know, over a phone line cannot contain that man. So,
Yeah.
what strategies would you suggest we use?
It generally takes Joe, Kendre, and I to contain Aldo. Aldo's fine. I just have to give Aldo a look. So maybe you need me.
Oh, we've already said we're
It's going to be his handler for the day.
We're bringing at least you or you and Joe together. It's going to be, we're videoing this one because it's going to be a round table for all hell.
It's funny because when Aldo calls me, when we have conversations over the phone, Aldo's like knows that. So Mark, his partner, knows who he's talking to based on how he reacts on the phones. When it's like really, you know, short, sweet, to the point, he knows it's me on the phone.
When there's no Aldo flourish.
It's like, Aldo, contain yourself, mate. It's me. Just answer my question.
And and again, Aldo, you know, we all say this in the most loving way, but I was asked by someone the other day to describe Aldo.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could say was, he's Aldo.
He's a verb and a noun.
It is the best description of Aldo I can offer. It's Aldo.
Yeah, and Aldo is Aldo. Aldo.
He's a force of nature.
That's it. Sometimes when I look at him, he'll look back at me. I love this about Aldo, by the way. When I look at him like, what the F are you doing? Aldo will look back and go, what?
This is perfectly normal.
This is natural behaviour. So that insipid calamari,
yes,
is what got. Now we have to mention this briefly before we get on to tonight's episode.
Yeah.
Has the green team ever won?
Yeah, they used to always win.
I see. Again, Joe still holds a grudge because
she went out on the green team.
Joe went out as part of a green team. And then I don't remember last year green team.
We'll need to go back through Wikipedia and have a look at which is the most cursed colour.
I think it's
Hang on. Yeah, last year was. I was on, remember, with Ben in the market store in South Africa. We were on the green team. That is true.
Green team is cursed.
But wasn't it red that used to be cursed?
Yeah, but that was a couple of years ago.
Because Abby's team were green the day that they got into blacks as well. Oh.
It's green.
The curse of the green.
They've been rotating the aprons this year and using more than like a handful of colour.
They had maroon
and purple.
So
maybe they need to just rest the green ones for a bit. I don't think anyone would complain.
It's like you've got a case of the green meanies.
So
a case of the greens.
Yeah.
So tonight,
we
started with one of my favourite challenges, which is when they get them all to sit down blindfolded and tell them what an ingredient or a foodstuff is.
Yeah,
I like that one.
I do too. It reminds me of like primary school when you did the haunted house and you had to go through and dip your hands in and it's like, oh, this is intestines and it's like cold spaghetti and it's eyeballs and it's grapes in jelly and.
Well, Simon did say that he stuck his finger in one and it was a big gluggy.
But they had it easier this time because they had the whole thing, like,
form.
They did.
I mean, they got a bowl of almonds, for example.
Yeah. Whereas a couple of years ago, wasn't it all in cubes?
Yeah, cubes.
I like the cubes. I hope they whip that out again this year. I was down for the cubes.
The cubes were cool.
Although I really hope they go from cubes to like a slice, like just like a thin, like one you do when you're prepping a slide for a microscope.
I was gonna be mean and say just for Chris.
No,
they should have them in domes.
No, they shouldn't. No, Hoda. No.
I was gonna say spears.
Stones, you're right. Just everything in a dome mold. It's like when they said, like last week, when Tati used what's it called for the first time? Alfalfa sprouts. I'm like, quick, put it in a dome.
That would be an amazing challenge.
Listening public at home. I mean, look what I'm surrounded by. I mean, they're taunting me with domes and spears and a schmear. And
for your birthday this year, I might make you a matcha dome. Like, it's a nice little
When
dome.
is your birthday, by the way, Chris?
Well, okay. His name gives you a clue. Chris. It's close to Christmas. He was Christmas Eve baby.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the matcha domes can wait because they're not really a summer thing. Well, they are.
So if you all of a sudden receive a gigantic
matcha dome. I'm doing a poo. I'll put myself in a matcha dome.
No, you're not going to put yourself in a matcha.
There's a nut
in my eye. No. So the challenge tonight.
I'll be the sweetest feeling of all.
It will be. It's so much sweeter than matcha. So, oh God, domes, matcha, sphere.
Hang on. So you don't like matcha either?
No, he really doesn't.
Look, okay.
Because the challenge. Wait, before you move on to tonight, the next challenge I've set for myself for you.
Oh shit!
Because I managed to get you onto domes and smears was to get you eating peas.
Oh no, that'll never happen.
Okay, so there are things that are a sort of a trope for the podcast that I don't really hate, but I just think are overused. Yuzu. I actually like yuzu.
It's delicious.
And said we went over to Carmen's Carmen's place over in Perth. And I had the yuzu dessert, and it was absolutely unbelievable.
That woman is a freak of
flavor. I like yuzu. I just think that for a long period of time, yuzu was done in everything, and it was ridiculous.
But I haven't seen any yuzu this year, so they can yuzu it up.
They can come back to yuzu again.
Wasn't it a glorified lemon?
Yeah. So they did yuzu in place of a citrus, other citrus, because it's a citrus. Matcha, on one hand, I just think is overdone. And I have a bake-off contestant who used it a lot, who agreed with me and said, yeah, no, I agree, it's overdone. But on the other hand, I also hate it. I legitimately hate it. Like, it's overdone, but I hate matcha.
The hilarious thing was, last time we went to T2, the free sample that they gave us with our purchase was matcha.
I have had...
What did you do with it, Kristie?
I think it's a regift.
It's a regift.
It's a regift. Regifted.
And when we were away on the honeymoon, we're at a chocolate place that we like to go to in the Hunter Valley. And while we're there, Kristie comes back from the counter with some chocolates and goes, "Here, have this one. I bought it for you." I knew what it was before she gave it to me.
It was yuzu.
And I went, "That's yuzu, isn't it?" She's like, "Yeah." I went, "There's a matcha one over there. Don't."
The wedding is now over. The marriage lasted.
The smile was just like, have this one. I got you this. It's yuzu. I can just tell it's yuzu. But peas are also not happening. They're not.
No, that's my mission.
You can try. Mission. You can really.
If I see, you know what? If I do convert you, I'll only know based on if you take a photo and put it all over social.
Yeah, well, that's you can keep looking for those photos, because nothing's happening.
I'm on a mission now.
Oh, of course you are. So,
hey, if I can create a vegan knafe, which I did last night.
Ooh.
Let's talk about the knafe, shall we?
Yeah, let's get to knafe.
I want to get into the knafe. So, the other night.
So, vegan knafe. Yeah. Why did you make a vegan knafe?
I had a couple of my fans. They're going to come and visit me this Saturday, but they were talking between themselves on my post, saying they wished there was a vegan version.
Uh-huh.
So that indirectly put my mind to a challenge.
Oh, and you're like, wish granted.
Well, you do like a challenge. Now,
are cornflakes vegan?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about the Larissa the other night using the cornflakes.
Yes.
Is that a secret?
No.
That's what I thought.
It's widely used and commonly known?
Yes. It's very wide. It's one of, so Knefe is one of those things where our parents back in the day, if they wanted to make what they called, a quick version, in Arabic when translated, they called it Knefe Kazebe. So when translated, it's the lying Knefe. So it's an impersonator.
It also sounds like a really cool, stage act. Welcome to the stage, the lying Knefe.
That's it. So that's what
Postman, the lying Knefe.
Cornflake crumb.
Yep.
So that they didn't have to go through the whole process of, if they were going to do the semolina based crumb, putting it in the oven first, drying it out, then processing it, then smashing it into the pan and all that. So they used cornflakes. So that is a very much widely known and used ingredients when they want to make a very quick Knefe. And actually it's very much used if you've ever ordered Knefe dessert cups.
Yep.
That's what they use on those.
Ah.
Now, what's the weirdest version or the most unusual version?
Is there a cocoa pot
you've
version?
ever made? No, not a cocoa pot version. What's the most unusual?
How do you know?
I'm
asking the expert.
Okay, go. Is there a cocoa pot version?
No.
Thank you.
But maybe
So
What's
the most unusual version you've ever made?
Pear and blue cheese.
Ooh.
With a honey thyme syrup.
Oh my God, that sounds fancy.
And it was delicious, actually. Not stated by me, stated by my worst critics, my family, who looked at me as if I was a monster, going, what the F are you giving us to eat? And I was like, just try it. And then let me know. But pretty much converted them all.
Look,
So,
I have to draw back the curtain a little bit and just say one of the greatest phrases that can ever be uttered by a single individual is when Hoda sends you a message and goes, "I've got something I think you might want to try."
Mm-hmm.
It is quite possibly the greatest sentence in the English language.
Yes.
Never failed yet.
No, absolutely not.
haven't I?
No.
Not yet. No. You're still batting a perfect record so far.
Oh, sweet as.
So yeah, no complaints here. No complaints.
I'm not going to get you to try my vegan version.
Probably don't. But
no.
Oh, look, we're down for good vegan food these days.
We're down for good vegan food, but I'm down for really good vegan food. But if there's a meat alternative or a non-vegan alternative, I can really get my teeth into, I'll probably still take it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I put a call out. We've got a couple of people who listen to the podcast who are vegans who have offered to at some point make us some really good vegan food, and I'm down for that.
Mm.
I'm happy to do that, or at the very least get them to give me a recipe and I'll try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm open to suggestion. I mean, again, we've talked about Secret Key Cafe.
Yeah.
And that was a brilliant example.
One day, though.
Well, my vegan Knefe is coming out soon, so you can give that a go if you really want to.
Oh, yeah.
So keep listening. So tonight we ended up with Joe.
Yes.
We ended up with Kyle.
Mm,
We ended up with Steph.
Yep.
And you wouldn't have known it until they judged him and threatened to throw him out, but Ben.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, yeah, so did we mention, so the shit came out, people ate it, and then some people didn't guess it correct.
That's all we have to do, really, because it wasn't really much of anything. They only got to 3 rounds.
Like Joe said, it's a prune when it was actually a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And...
I was shocked.
I don't even know what Steph was doing, and I think by that point, neither did Steph.
No.
And I really felt for Steph, but I was like, fried rice.
There's not even rice there, Dal.
Yeah, I was baffled by how you mixed it.
But she was talking about cabbage. So how did fried rice come out of...
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
that was unusual. So,
but anyway,
are we going to talk about the mysterious blue bandages?
yeah, let's do it because I've been bitch slapped by the Masterchef account tonight. I don't care anymore. So
can you leave me out of it?
you don't have to talk. I'm just going to talk on this, and because they already hate me. There were blue bandages on Steph and on Simon while they were tasting. Now, the Masterchef account tweeted back after I tweeted out, Simon will be next here because he's already got a blue bandage on his hand. Simon was next.
Yeah.
Steph went too, and she had the blue bandage. The others didn't have blue bandages. I'm like, they've already cut themselves.
And it was quite obvious because then when they were all standing about to go, like in the blacks and stuff, ready to go cook, there was no blue bandages.
There were some shots where there were bandages. There were some shots where there weren't bandages. So I put out, that's really lazy editing. And the Masterchef account sprung to life and proceeded to tell me they practiced 24/7 and probably cut themselves at home.
And I posited that to Chris too. And he's like, no, watch the hands. And I did.
There were a couple of shots with a bandage, a couple of shots without a bandage, a couple of shots with, a couple of shots without. So it felt like they did it all and then went, we've got to go back and do a couple of reshoots, which is fine. And that's television. And that's not saying there was anything untoward in it whatsoever.
No, and it's not. It's definitely not a setup.
No, it's not a setup because it's not untoward. There are some times where maybe you go. There's sometimes when you go back, look at the film, and go, "Oh, we might need a retake of that. We might need a reshoot of that." That's fine, but just get them to take the bandage off while they do it. That's my only thing.
Yeah,
now,
but would it either be then the bandage or blood pouring into the almonds as they're eating them? I mean, may that be a giveaway?
I mean, how badly have they cut themselves? If it's only a single blue bandage, I'm assuming they haven't cut themselves that badly.
Yeah.
As Leo out the back agrees loudly. Hey, Leo. So.
All right, now we can bring Hoda back into the conversation.
Now we can bring Hoda back in. She didn't hear that. Well done. So we ended up with a couple of weird things. First of all, Joe was ultra Italian again.
Oh, yeah.
And made his pasta, or should I say, doorstop.
Do you think there was an Italian off between him and Abby and he won? Because she's like, I live near Italians. He's like, well, I hang out with a Nonna. She's like, no.
I borrowed a Nonna.
I see your Italian neighborhood and raise you a Nonna.
So Joe at one point tonight said, there's nothing you can do about thick pasta. No, there's plenty you can do about thick pasta, Joe.
Keep rolling it.
Roll it. Roll that pasta out. Keep stretching it. Keep rolling it. Add some water. Just
try a different pasta roller.
Yeah, use something else. Go back and ask them if they've still got the dowel from earlier in the week.
Take
when
it
they
outside,
did dumplings.
run the Vespa over it. It's never driven anywhere. You can just...
Yeah, use the Vespa.
But all I was screaming at the TV was the pasta recipe.
Yeah, always have
a good
pasta recipe.
And if you don't know where to find one, maybe just go troll Instagram until you find one.
Yeah, find someone on Instagram who has a good pasta recipe. I'm sure they're
not that hard, people.
I'm sure they're out there.
One cup of flour, 1 egg.
There you go. Kyle
Start with that.
Started this series anti-meat. He's a pescatarian.
Yes.
When he thought his position in the show was in jeopardy, pork.
When I was younger, I honestly thought pescatarian was like another sect of like Protestant or like Presbyterian.
Makes sense. I'm not gonna lie, because
all I heard was fish and pescatarian, and like Jesus is associated with fish, so I just presumed.
You just made an assumption.
And I was like, no, it's a different thing.
So I saw him make that pork, but then I was like, when they said this is a pork and whatever dish, I was like, is he lying to them again? Where's the
Yeah, what is this now? What is it this time? You know,
it's actually tofu.
It's shallots.
Tofurkey.
Tofurkey.
Tofork.
Now,
because it's pork.
Now again, he was
Pork-fu.
There was a bit of a discussion on Twitter then about the fact that he was very anti-meat.
Poo-fu.
And so how was he sampling the dish as he went through? The answer was he wasn't. Which led to my favorite moment of the series so far, when Kyle pulls this limp, very poorly cooked pork out.
Rubbery pork.
It looks horrible, and he goes, I'm just going to hit it with the hibachi.
Jumped to life and mind going, just hitting the pork with a hibachi.
Yeah, so Kristie has like stood up and just started physically beating pork with a hibachi. And like there was this full performance going on of like just a bit of pork on a bench and her with a hibachi overhead just wailing away on it. It was great.
Look, my old improv skills really came to the fore.
They did.
Yeah.
Simon uttered one of my favourite phrases of the night when smoking everything. And like he's going, look, it may not look like I know what I'm doing with this. Cut to him waving the smoke nozzle around and gassing the gantry.
No, he was helping Leah out. He was still working on her Eurovision audition.
What I really liked the idea of instead was he worked out that if you gassed them, it's a bit like bees. Like he could shut the gantry by just
calming them down.
Like, it's a secret way. Gas them. So Steph then was the queen of the understatement when she was talking about the problems she was having with her dish, and she's like, "It's clearly not ideal." Like, well done, Steph. That was. She was worried all the way through.
Yeah, and kept tasting her star anise ice cream, and it's just the ladies on the gantry. I was like, it was the blonde chorus. Put the ice cream in the...
Put it in the channel. 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 And she's like, they keep on yelling that I have to do something. I wonder what, Steph. And then she was worried there was no star anise flavour. And then Gary, when he tasted it at the end, like, whoa, that ice cream's amazing. So lots of flavour in that damn ice cream.
She packed it in. Good on her.
She packed the flavour in.
And it was nice to see someone produce a beautiful looking pastry. Like
that tartlet looked amazing.
That did look delicious with the walnuts and the caramel.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was yum. And you know what? I did feel for her as well, because sometimes when you're under pressure, your taste buds go and you're like tasting it going, oh, it doesn't taste like, why can't I taste enough? And then, you know, it also, that's one point. And then the second point is that it needs that little bit of time to sort of develop.
Right.
So while it's in the churner, it gets stronger and stronger.
There you go. This is why we have Hoda on, so we've got like learned people.
She can actually tells us what's going on there.
She can. So
she says while she's eating a grape.
That works. All right, so
you got any grapes?
More importantly, we met a new person tonight.
We did.
We've never met this person. You might well have met this person, but we haven't. Who's Nick? And more importantly, is he the Bosley to the judges Charlie's Angels?
Thanks, Nick.
Like, George was open, like him and Nick have a very strong working relationship.
Nick's kind of like the Oral-B dentist, though. He can't show you his face.
I was a bit surprised with that, because they don't normally, because he's the waiter, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And they don't normally say their names.
Oh, Nick's special.
You don't have to contribute to the next part of this conversation, but I'm just going to throw.
I won't.
just blank this next line out of your memory banks. I wonder if George got him on the show in lieu of payment.
I'll give you some exposure. Will you work for me for exposure?
We'll put you on TV.
Yeah. Come
back into the conversation. I didn't hear that. So, yeah, Nick was the star.
Nick is the waiter everyone wants.
It was the star turn of the evening.
He was very controlled. I mean, no pressure. He's carrying out people's dishes that either make or break their bloody, like kudos to all the waiters on Masterchef, first of all, who bring out people's dishes that they've worked hard on to the judging. You know, they don't drop them. They don't spit in them, I presume. Like, they're doing a bang-up job. They've got one job and they do it well.
We talked the other day about in the challenge with the teachers, we talked about the way that those poor waitresses had to turn around and go back into the kitchen when George went with me, when they were serving raw chicken. You know, like, they've got a tough gig.
I was a little disappointed with the waiters in the tasting challenge, though, who, unlike Will and Grace, you know, when Will and Jack go to do, and they're like, it's ballet service. Like the pirouettes and stuff. They could have done some synchronized ballet service.
It was far more straightforward. So they got to the judging, and Steph was fine.
Yeah.
The ice cream was fine. They then went and they tasted. They thought that was fine. They thought that Simon's smoke was great and his was fine. So
Flavors were good.
they were okay.
Liked his juice.
They liked his juice. And then eventually we got down to there were 2 people left. Now, when they announced the 2 that were okay, first of all, they referred to it as the lamb and the tart, which I thought was a lovely parable.
Yes.
And what a story they told.
Here's the tale of the lamb and the tart who went to Masterchef and stole our hearts.
You know, doesn't that say a lot about all of us? And so we finished up.
The moral of the story
is
serve lamb and tarts.
Lamb and tarts. So, or a lamb tart.
A lamb tart.
Or a tarty lamb. Anyway.
Man.
I've got a better idea. Turn it into a panna cotta.
A lamb tart panna cotta.
I thought I was free and clear.
No.
But has anyone ever tried to do a savoury panna cotta?
Not if their lives are worth living, they haven't.
That's milk. So you could do a sour cream and chive sauce.
You could do a savoury panna cotta. Don't do a savoury panna cotta. Please don't do a
savoury panna cotta.
Well, Hoda, you keep on setting yourself challenges. Congratulations.
She's now mastered the vegan knefe. She's good. She's got on to the next one.
All right. I thought we knew where we were going with this because Matt Preston turned around and said the pork was horrible.
Yeah.
But then when they got to the judging at the very end, Gary turns around and goes, we couldn't find anything good about either of these dishes. Ben's looking at them going, what?
You didn't show me. Do I not even get a send-off? Am I that?
If Ben had gone home tonight, there would have been, and look, again, Ben and Waleed. So Waleed is now the Trent.
Yeah.
Ben is no longer Trent, though.
No, Ben, I'm sorry, darling. You're no longer a ninja. Got too much exposure. And quite frankly, you're Stephen Bradburying your way through. It's like...
This is the second time in elimination where Ben has survived because somebody else fell over. And look, Ben, we love you. We love you, man. But it's the second time you've survived because someone tripped. So you're very much Stephen Bradbury and no longer a ninja. Waleed, however...
You're like me at Nippers, who always came third or second because there were only 3 of us.
Hold on.
In my age year.
The poor old Waleed, who now can't get any airtime whatsoever.
I know, Waleed. He's there making a profiterole tower, and balancing a full dome on top.
They made it. Tonight they even talked up the fact that when they got to the Macron, they talked up the fact that Waleed knows his flavour, and then they just skimmed past his board, which was right, but they just skimmed past it. Why did you even remotely build him up?
They blonde displayed him.
They did.
They just got blonde ladies.
Well, it wasn't all blonde ladies because Anushka was the one who said Waleed knows it.
Okay.
And everyone went, does he?
They lady-splained him.
Lady-splains it better. So they did this and they went, but the one thing we can say is that there was a saving grace on yours, Ben. So Ben survives.
They like the flavour in his sunbell. Not the texture,
just
but
the flavour. And then at that point, Kyle's like, yeah, I've got twins on the way. I should probably go home to them. It was the most nonchalant. He got eliminated. He's like, yeah, my wife's expecting the twins any day now. I should probably be at home. He's like, I can't wait to go home and give her a cuddle. And I'm like, you mean go home and do a bunch of work for her because you've just left her?
I'm so sure his wife is just going to gut punch him after they kiss and this. She's like, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. And then she's just going to punch him and she's like, where the fuck have you been? I'm chasing a toddler around and I am so very pregnant. But congratulations on your twin. That's lovely.
Well done, guys. And I love congratulations because I thought there was a bit of subtext when they went, we can't wait to call past your place and have a craft beer. And I thought the little line after it was, and not have that pork, just a craft beer.
No, he'll just serve them scallops.
Just scallops. Mushrooms, scallops, whatever. So before we let you go, anything that you want to plug, Hoda, that isn't dome-shaped?
Panna Cottas.
Yep, I walked into that one.
I don't think I'm going to be back on, am I?
No, you'll be back on 100%, especially when they do more Panna Cotta challenges.
You're just going to be
Panna correspondent.
Guess what tomorrow's video is going to be about?
Panna Cotta?
Yes.
I look forward to it.
Look, you guys are awesome. It's been real, and I've got a bunch of things happening in and around Sydney. So if people are following any of my accounts, really, all the messages get sent there. You'll know what I'm up to, where I am, how crazy I am, and what I'm making, and what you can taste, and whatever. So, this Saturday and Sunday I'll be at Stocklands, Maryland.
Nice.
And next week I will be at Fairfield Forum, and on the weekend we'll be at the Eid show in Bankstown. So if anyone wants to pop in and say hello, they're more than welcome to.
And we can highly recommend saying hello to Hoda because she's not personable at all, and she doesn't know how to have conversations with people, and she just shuts down. And no, this is normal. Yeah, but no, the Eid festival in particular would be really cool. So it's absolutely delightful to just get to talk utter crap with you. I mean, it's a delight, and the audience. I can say 100% that the audience has been absolutely thrilled from the moment I went. We've got Hoda on again this week. They're like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!"
And Brandon Black's like, "Oh, how can I crowbar her into another tweet?"
Brandon's done a very good job. Just every week when they mention another team challenge, Brandon has done a very good job of mentioning Hoda.
I think tonight
and putting up my gift.
I think he's there going, "Oh, look, it's Poe, and Poe's got an H in her name, and you know who else's name starts with an H?"
Hoda.
Oh, that's too funny. But thanks for the support, Brandon. It's very much appreciated. And, I just try and, keep it for the team. We got to keep going.
Keep it real. What she makes sure is she wants perfection. So
I want perfection.
Always perfection. Thank you very much for coming on again, Hoda. It's always a delight.
Thanks for having me.
Until next episode, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
And we'll catch you all later.
Pannacottaoff.